A very good morning to one and all. This is Dr. Pradipti, and today in this lecture, we will going to discuss about the technique which is used to analyze any material on the earth, specifically the rocks and the different kind of minerals. Okay, and this is a part of your paper. This is a part of your paper, geochemistry and sedimentology. Geochemistry and sedimentology. So geochemistry and sedimentology is all about. What is the geochemistry and sedimentology is all about? The geochemistry and sedimentology is nothing but the geochemistry and sedimentology is nothing but the what we can say the fundamental of the fundamental of the sediment of fundamental of the geology. It deals with the study of different kind of or different kind of analysis. Okay, different kind of analysis. We need we need some data to recognize whether this is what kind of minerals they are, what kind of rocks they are. So when we are studying about the geochemistry in previous lecture, we seen about what kind of material we have in the this one, what kind of material we have, and after the material or whatever the material we are characterizing, the data which is whatever data we are getting from this machine, we will interpret for the different kind of interpretation. So in this lecture we will see about what is the importance of X-ray diffraction, that is in short form we are called as XRD technique. Then basics of diffraction, X-ray diffraction, and crystal structure and crystal diffraction. Then different kind of method, different kind of method which we use for this analysis. So first one is importance of XRD. So XRD is essential to evaluate. It is very essential to evaluate the structure of properties. It is very essential to evaluate the structure and properties. The structural characterization. The diffraction is offered. Two type of diffraction is there: X-ray and electron diffraction. There is a two type of diffraction: X-ray and electron diffraction. Then if we have a microscopy, we have a microscopy, spectroscopy, and property evaluation. We have what we can say the microscopy, spectroscopy, and different type of mechanical what kind of evaluation we did. So, in the diffraction phenomena is observed by the Italian mathematician Francisco Maria Grimaldi. The name of mathematician is Francisco Maria Grimaldi. So, he is the one who invented this diffraction method. Then, in 1868, X-ray discovered by the German scientist Röntgen. Then discovery of X-ray diffraction by Crystal von Low. Then what is the Bragg's law? The theory of Bragg's law is discovered later by the in 1912. So this is a different kind of theories which we invented. This is a electromagnetic spectrum. Guys, so whatever the range which we able to see is a very small range, right from the what we have gamma rays to the radio rays. In between the human can be human can only see the very small aspect or small portion of the very small portion of the spectrum, that is your visible spectrum or visible light. So you have a gamma rays, X rays, ultraviolet rays, visible light, near infrared, far infrared, microwave, and radio. So this is a different kind of spectrum which we generally going to study. Then generation of X-ray. Then generation of X-ray. So X-ray is generated. X-ray is generated by the ion and the energy. There is a mechanism of generating the X-ray. So this is the a picture which show how the this X-ray beam is generated through the motor and this lead all the this mechanism. So X-ray spectrum from ion target. So what is the spectrum for the X-ray to characterize? There is the X-ray spectrum. The wavelength limit for the X-ray is 12,400 divided by V. This is some of the characteristic of the X-ray. The what type of filter we use? Nickel and filter for Cu copper target. Now we have a different type of crystal system. We have a different kind of crystal system: a simple cubic, a body centered cubic, face centered cubic, simple tetragonal, body centered trigonal, simple base centered, body centered, face centered, simple monoclinic, base centered, triclinic, trigonal, and hexagonal. So this is a sum of the different crystal system we have. Then we have metals and ceramic, different kind of metals and ceramic. The copper, which is known as a FCC, uh, iron, zinc. So this is a structure of different kind of metals we have. A diffracted beam. A diffracted beam may be defined as the beam composed of the large number of scattered rays. A diffracted beam may be defined as the a beam which is composed of a large number of scattered rays mutually reinforcing each other. So there is a scattering. There is a scattering uh, where we have a particle, where we have a particle which is interaction. The scattering is nothing but a interaction of the light with the single particle, and diffraction is when you have you can see the diffraction difference between the diffraction and scattering. You can see the difference between the diffraction and scattering. Scattering may be release the wave and rays in all direction, whereas this one diffraction is not like that. So what is the scattering modes? We have random arrangement of atom. In scattering modes, a random arrangement of atom in space given rise to scattering in all direction. Peak effect and intensities add. By atom arranged periodically in space in a few specific directions satisfying Braggs law. In a few specific directions satisfying Braggs law, strong intensities of the scattered beam, that is a diffraction. No scattering along the all around the direction not satisfying the law, Braggs law. So this is the diffraction of light through the aperture. Now, what the XRD technique is basically operated upon, and what is the main integral part of the this technique is a Bragg's law. Is a Bragg's law. A Bragg's law, which is known as the n lambda is equal to 2d sine theta. This is a Bragg's law, simple Bragg's law, what we learn in physics also earlier days. So n is the order of reflection, d is the plane spacing, theta is a divided by Bragg's angle, and this all. So n lambda is equal to 2d sine theta. N lambda is equal to 2d sine theta. So this is how the Bragg's law is get operating through. This is how the Bragg's law is get operated. So d is equal to n lambda is equal to 2d sine theta. So this angle is measured by the instrument called as a X-ray, what we X-ray diffractometer, and this lattice the angle between the two lattice space is unique for each mineral. Unique for each mineral. The geometry of Bragg's law. What is the geometry of Bragg's law? The incident beam is the normal to the reflection plane, and the diffracted beam are always coplanar. The angle between the diffracted beam and the transmitted beam is always 2 theta. Okay, the angle between the diffracted beam and transmitted beam is always 2 theta. Sin theta cannot be more than unity. The requires is n lambda is more than or less than 2d for n is equal to 1. So lambda is should be less than twice the d spacing we want to study. Then this is how we derive the Bragg's law of equation for the X-ray analysis. N lambda is equal to 2d sin theta. So you have a diffractometer. You have a diffractometer. So where you have an incident of X-ray beam, you have an incident of X-ray beam, and X-ray beam can incident towards the what we can say the towards the um, this one the X-ray diffractometer is get uh, what we can say the captured by this one. Uh, for a single crystal, incident X-ray beam is get reflected. Incident X-ray beam is get reflected by the crystal, and the counter is get what we can say the read this one. Then you have a structure factor. So there is a different lattices, and according to lattices, your reflection is present or absent. That is given in this table. It's not of that much of use. Now, this is a powder X-ray diffraction. It's essentially a misnomer or should be replaced by polycrystalline X-ray diffraction. Information of diffraction pattern. So, what kind of diffraction? What generally used to know about the face identification. Is used to know about the face identification, crystal size, crystal quality, texture, and crystal structure. Then we have analysis of single phase. We have analysis of single phase. Note first three strongest peak at D1, D2, and D3. In the present case, D1 is 2.82, D2 is 1.99, and D3 is 1.63. All values is in Armstrong. All value is in Armstrong. So this is according to intensity. This is according to the intensity of the this one. So you have a search JCPDS. You search a JCPDS manual to find the group belonging to the strongest line between the 2.84 to 2.80. There are 17 substances with approximately similar to, but only 4 have a B1. It is a NaCl. Now, when we have presence of multiple phases, when we have multiple phases, what you can do with this data? So this data is given in a Armstrong, and so this is a D spacing and Armstrong values, a D spacing and Armstrong values. So D spacing value in Armstrong, it is also in given in 2 theta value also. Two different type of thetas are there, 2 theta and the Armstrong values. So take any of these two line together, take several permutation and combination is possible. That is example is D1, D2, and D3, the first three strongest lines show the several alternatives. Then take any of the two lines together and match. It turns out that first and third strongest lines belong to CU, and then all other picks for CU and can be separated out. Now, presence of multiple faces. A presence of multiple faces. There is a more complex several permutation combination is possible. That is a D1 to D2, but you have to check that where is the intensity 100 is there. So here you can see that 2.09 Armstrong is consist of the 100% intensity, means the maximum percentage of this a maximum percentage of this mineral is present in the your all sample. Maximum percentage of this mineral is present in the all sample. Then lattice strain. What is the lattice strain? So, so if there is a no strain, your 2 theta value should be a symmetrical one. There is a two there is a two either side there is a same equal half can be this one. Then you have a uniform strain. Then you have a uniform strain. Then you have non-uniform strain, no strain, uniform strain, and non-uniform strain. This is a three different type of lattice strain are there. Grain with grain within a polycrystalline are not completely randomly distributed. A clustering of grains, a clustering of grain about some particular orientation to be certain degree. Example of this one is a present in a cold rolled brass or steel sheet. The cold work material tend to exhibit some texture after the recrystallization, affect the properties due to the anisotropic nature. Then fiber texture. A particular direction for all grains is more or less parallel to the wire or fiber axis. Double axis is also possible. So this is what texture in the material we identify. This is not of use to much of the use to us. We will move forward. So now, what is the oriented thin films? Bismuth titanate thin films and oriented strontium titanium oxide 3 substrate. So this is a oriented thin film all. Okay, oriented thin films. Only one type of peaks is appear that films are highly oriented. Only one type of peaks are appear that is a appearance that films are highly oriented. This is a log intensity. This is a log intensity of the oriented thin films. Uh, degree of orientation. Degree of orientation. Correspond to planes parallel to the surface. Corresponding to plane parallel to the surface. A side view. But what if the planes, when looked from the top, have random orientation? You have four peaks. You have four peaks at 50 degrees Celsius, two sets of peak at 5 to 65 and 85 degrees Celsius, indicating a doublet or opposite twin green. Both three sets of peaks at 35 and 85 degrees Celsius, indicating a triplet or triple twin green. This is a film of strontium titanium oxide. So this is a different kind of order disorder transformation. So now what is the X-ray? How the transition and how we get the analysis done. We will see this one. This is a simple how the beam is getting on a sample. You have a beam which will be getting on a sample, emitting on a sample, and the source, okay, whatever the source and mirror will be take all the reading. This all this reading will take by the beam, and detector will detect the all this reading. Detector will detect all this reading. Then you have a parallel beam and parafocusing beam. Then you have a parallel beam and parafocusing beam. So X-ray are aligned, X-ray are aligned, X-ray are diverging. So in parafocusing, your X-ray is diverging. Lower intensity, higher intensity for the parafocusing. So this is the difference between how when we use the parallel beam and we use a parabolic. So X-ray diffraction is very useful to characterize the material following information, the phase analysis, lattices parameters, and this all. And it is one of the very powerful. It is one of the very powerful technique to know about a different kind of characteristic of the material in it. So this is what we are basically seen from the this lecture. We basically seen all about the what kind of uh, uh, what kind of theories which given by the different kind of combination of all. So XRD technique is basically first introduced for the purpose of knowing the phase, and later we have the good amount of data about the XRD. So then we will move to know about that. Yes, there is a rock and mineral is also. We can determine the rock and mineral from this also. Okay. So this what kind of sample we required for this one? What kind of sample we required for this one? We need a very small amount of sample. We need a very small amount of sample to take care of the about the XRD. Now we will see the application and again some. So it's a novel and non-destructive method of chemical analysis, and variety of X-ray technique are available in practice. These are X-ray absorption, X-ray diffraction, X-ray fluorescence. So you have a different type of X-ray technique which is used for a different purpose. We have X-ray diffraction. We have X-ray diffraction. Every crystalline substance, every crystalline substance gives a pattern. The same substance always gives the same pattern, and in a mixture of substances, each produces its pattern independently of the others. The X-ray diffraction pattern of the pure substance is therefore like a fingerprint of the substance. It is based on the scattering of the X-ray crystal. The atomic planes of the crystal cause an incident beam of the X-ray to interfere with one another as they leave the crystal. The phenomena is called as the X-ray diffraction. The phenomena is called the X-ray diffraction. So, what is the X-ray diffraction? X-ray diffraction is a incident when the incident beam is get diffracted. Okay, when the incident beam is uh, when the incident beam is going on a sample and get diffracted, the pattern is get recorded. The diffracted pattern is get recorded. Why the XRD we will use? Why the XRD we will use? XRD will measure the average spacing between the layer of row and atom. They determine the orientation of a single crystal of grain. Find the crystal structure of an unknown material. Measure the size, shape, and internal stress of the small crystalline region. So this is the effect of sample thickness on absorption of X-ray. This is the effect of sample thickness on absorption of X-ray. This is how the detection of diffracted. This is how the detection of diffracted X-ray by the photographic film. This is how the detection of diffracted X-ray by the photographic film. A sample of some hundred of crystal, a sample of some hundred of crystal, that is powder sample, show that the diffracted beam form a continuous cones. A diffracted beam form a continuous cones. A circle of film is used to record the diffraction pattern. A circle of film is used to record a diffraction pattern. As shown, each cone intersect the film, giving the diffraction line. The line are seen as a arcs on the film. Then the Bragg law and diffraction. What is the Bragg law and diffraction? So how waves reverse, how waves are revealed the atomic structure of crystal. The n lambda is equal to 2d sine theta, n is the integral. So you have atomic planes and the space between the crystal lattices. That is what the XRD technique get involved in. So they capture the space between these two. So diffraction occur only when the Bragg's law is satisfied and condition for constructive interference from planes with the spacing d. So deriving the Bragg's law is n lambda is equal to 2d sine theta. Deriving the Bragg's law is n lambda is equal to 2d sine theta. So we have a constructive interference X-ray to occur only when the n lambda is equal to AB plus BC. AB is equal to BC. So then you have a planes in a crystal 2-dimension. A planes in a crystal 2-dimension. Basic of crystallography. So these all are the a concept of the crystallography. Mostly we are dealing with the crystal concept of crystallography, how the crystallography is get occurred, how the crystallography is uh, operated. The atom are arranged. The atom are arranged in a regular pattern, and there is the smallest volume element that by repetition in 3 dimension describe the crystal. The smallest volume element is called as a unit cell. The smallest volume element is called as a unit cell. Crystal consists of planes of atom that is space a distance of d part. Uh, can be resolved in a many atomic plane for uh, the what kind of crystal so the dimension of the unit cell, uh, the dimension of the unit cell, uh, the dimension of unit cell is described by the three axes A, B, and C. The angle between them is alpha, beta, and gamma. That is are the lattices. That are the lattices. Uh, that are lattices and constant which can be determined by the XRD. So this is how we produce the X-ray. This is how we produce the X-ray. X-ray are produced. X-ray are produced whenever the high-speed electron collide with the metal target. A high-speed electron is get collide with the metal target. A source of electron hot filament and high accelerating voltage between the cathode and anode and the metal target. The anode is the water cooled block of the copper containing desired target material. Then the specimen preparation, how we are prepare the sample. When we have a powder of 0.1 nanometer and the this one is equal to a 14 nanometer particle size. So this is a modern automated X-ray diffractometer. This is a modern automated X-ray diffractometer. This is a basic component and feature of XRD. This is a basic component of and feature of XRD. So you have to produce the X-ray, then it get diffracted, and then detection of this rays will be take place in this one. So detection of diffracted X-ray by a diffractometer. Detection of the diffracted X-ray by a diffractometer. So this is how your X-ray XRD pattern data of NaCl powder looks like. This is how the XRD pattern of NaCl powder data will looks like. This is a significant of peak shape in XRD. This is the significant of peak shape in XRD. The peak position, peak width, and peak intensity. This is the three different kind of things we will see there. This is important for particle grain size and residual strain. This is the important for particle grain size and residual strain. So, what is the effect of lattice strain on diffraction, peak position width, and width? This is what is the effect of lattice strain on diffraction, peak position, and width. There is a no strain. There is a no strain on diffraction. This is a uniform strain. So when there is a no strain, you have a symmetrical. You have a symmetrical data. Okay. When you have a no strain, you have a symmetrical data. And when you have a uniform strain, you can have a data like this. So this is a three different kind of data set. This is a three different kind of data set we have, and all this data can be the diffraction line is seen by the different kind of structure. So so now after seeing all these basics about this uh, after seeing all this basic about all, now we are going to see about what is the application of this one. What is the application of XRD? So XRD basically a non-destructive. XRD is basically a non-destructive method. Means what is mean by non-destructive? You don't have a you don't need to burn out your sample. You don't need to burn out your sample. You just have to give the sample, and that sample as it is can be utilized, and you will be take this sample at. So after comparing the data with known standard, in the JCPDS file, and to determine the structural properties, the lattices parameter, grain size, epitaxy, and this all, and to measure the thickness of thin films and multi-layers, to determine the atomic arrangement. The detection limit is more or less you can have 3% of detection limit in the two-phase mixture, which can be a 0.1 with the synchronous radiation. The application of XRD is the electron density is, and accordingly the position of atom in complex structure, such as penicillin, may be determined from the comprehensive mathematical study of the X-ray diffraction pattern. The elucidation of the structure of penicillin by XRD file the way for the later synthesis of penicillin. So XRD can also be used to determine not. This one is also be get you can verify this one with XRD. The electron density is accordingly the position of atom complex structure such as penicillin also be determined from the comprehensive mathematical study of the X-ray diffraction pattern. The powder XRD pattern may be thought of as a fingerprint of the single crystal structure, and it may be used to conduct the qualitative and quantitative analysis. XRD can also be used to determine whether the compound is solvent or not. Particle size is determination by the applying and the relation, where V is the volume of the size of individual crystalline. The this small and capital V, the total volume of the specimen irradiated. Determination of cis trans isomerism. It is used to assess the weathering and the degradation of natural and synthetic minerals. Tooth enamels and dent- dentine have been examined by XRD. State of the annals in the metals. So this is all are the application of the XRD. Is a synchronous with the particle acceleration device which throughout the use of bending magnet, force of charges and particle beam to travel in a circular pattern. What is the advantage of using the synchronous radiation? What is the advantage of using the synchronous radiation? Detecting the presence of the quality, detecting the presence of quantity of trace element, providing image that show the structure of material, then producing X-ray with the 108 more brightness than the dose from the normal X-ray tube, having the right energies to interact with the element in light atoms such as carbon and oxygen, producing the X-ray, uh, having the uh, having the right energies to interact with the element in light atoms such as carbon and oxygen, producing X-ray with the wavelength about the size of atom, molecule and chemical bonds. Then you have an instrumental source of error. Then you have an instrumental source of error. So error in zero beta point, peak distortion due to the protest K alpha to K beta wavelength. So the conclusion of this all is about the XRT is a non-destructive method. XRT is a non-destructive method which is fast and easy for the sample filtration. It is having a high accuracy. It is having a high accuracy for the d-spacing calculations and can be done in situ. It can be done in situ. The single crystal poly and amorphous material, a single crystal poly and amorphous material is you can analyze. The standard are available. The standard are available for a thousand of material system. Standard are available for thousand of material system. So this is all about XRD analysis and how we do the XRD analysis. What kind of advantage of doing the XRD, and what is the application of XRD in a various field, X-ray diffractiometer. So hope you understand this lecture and uh, what kind of the interpretation technique for the interpretation and all whatever you need, you can go to the several paper. So whatever the data you will get, so you can have this data. So you can have this data, and data can be interpreted for the different mineral. You can identify the phase of the different mineral, and you will interpret that this is a kaolinite, this is a chloride, elite, So with this one, you also should have some prior knowledge. It's not about that you just go and doing this all stuff. You should have a prior knowledge to this one, and after the prior knowledge, you can have this. You can have this kind of study for the XRT technique. So this is all from this lecture. Hope you understand this all the concept of XRP, how it get interpreted, and what is the application of this one. So thank you for listening this one. Thank you all.